Hey there, Storm fans. Bryant Cook. I am here today to give you a quick bolt on my upcoming predictions for next week's Ban and Restricted List update for the Pauper format. As you can see in front of us, Wizards of the Coast announced that there will be some changes, and I think everybody is expecting the first one to be Chatterstorm. Chatterstorm is the Squirrel Storm win condition in conjunction with First Day of Class, and it's just been dominating the Pauper format. If you're interested, there will be a video on the card above explaining this deck. So this deck, everyone expects it to get hit. It's warping the format. It's honestly just not very healthy for the game. So Chatterstorm is what everyone thinks should go. But there's some people out there that think that's not all that should go. They also want Galvanic Relay to leave with it. And honestly, I disagree. So I don't expect Wizards to ban Galvanic Relay, and I don't think it should be banned. I've played 2 videos now that I've recorded and uploaded to this very channel where I've played Galvanic Relay in decks without Chatterstorm, and having to jump through hoops to win using Epicure of Blood in conjunction with Weather the Storm or Marauding Blood Priest as a cheaper alternative but more fragile. It's really difficult to make this work using Galvanic Relay. I've also tried it in lists with Serpentine Curve, since Serpentine Curve doesn't care about how many cards are in exile or in your graveyard, which works really well with the Galvanic Relay. In both of these leagues, I struggled to actually win the game with Relay. And I think it's a little bit of an over-exaggeration from the Pauper community just because they hate Storm combo so much. The counter argument is there's nothing in the form that interacts with the mechanic Storm. That's a little bit of an entitled opinion, I believe, because you don't deserve to have something that interacts. That's just not how the game Magic the Gathering works. And if a card isn't harming the format, it probably shouldn't be banned. That said, there's probably some people out there that think that Galvanic Relay is, but I've played enough of it to know that it's not actually the issue. That's my stance. So I don't think Relay is going to be banned, and I don't think it should be. That's that. So a very popular opinion is the 10 artifact lands from Modern Horizons 2 that are all indestructible should go. Not only are the indestructible artifacts, they're also dual lands, which is just kind of bonkers. That said, they are just artifact lands, and in a format where artifact lands don't really do a whole lot outside of affinity. They do give you this sort of toxic play pattern with Cleansing Wildfire, where if you're just playing red, you get this free rampant growth or lane destruction, which could be sort of an issue. Uh, I wouldn't hate seeing these artifact lands go, but I think it's only part of the problem. Atog. Atog gives these affinity decks a pseudo Splinter Twin type win where not only do you have to respect Frogmite and Mirror Enforcer and Sojourner's Companion, but you also have to respect Atog plus Fling. So out of nowhere, you can just end up dead due to this combo, and it's very similar to playing against Splinter Twin, where you're always guessing which half of the deck you're supposed to respect and why, and it gives Affinity such a huge boom, where maybe if Atog wasn't in the format, Affinity wouldn't be such a presence. I would like to see a format where Atog wasn't possibly in it. I do think that the artifact lands plus Cleansing Wildfire are potentially a big issue, but I think Atog's an even bigger issue. So I'm going to predict that Wizards takes Atog and not the artifact lands. That's a bold prediction, I'm aware, but I think Atog is actually a much larger issue, and I wouldn't be shocked if it goes. So far my predictions are Chatterstorm and Atog, not Chatterstorm and 10 artifact land. A lot of people are pointing at Sojourner's Companion, and I don't know why. It is just a glorified Mirror Enforcer. It is not actually the problem with Affinity. It feels a little bit like Stockholm Syndrome, where they're so close to it that they can't see clearly. It's just a free 4/4, and that's not nearly as dangerous as playing against Atog. And a bunch of people have this concept in their head that just because something's been legal for a long time and it hasn't been an issue, it couldn't possibly be an issue now. Well, Magic has an ever-expanding card pool, and that's just not the case. Just because something has been fine the last 10 or 20 years doesn't mean that it's going to be fine for the future. New mechanics happen, new cards happen. You shouldn't have to ban new things just because something old exists. And in this case, Atog is definitely more powerful than the Artifact Salamander or the Mirror. So just because it gets the dual lands when it cycles doesn't mean that it's too good. I think that these people are just looking for a reason to keep playing their favorite deck rather than what's actually best for the format. All right, so Spellstutter Sprite. I hate the fairies decks. Even before Modern Horizons 2, they were the best thing that you could have been doing in the format. They're just so good. And now with Modern Horizons 2 and all of the combo decks that have come to power, Dimir Fairies is the probably best deck in the format because it keeps everything else in check, which is a good thing. That said, even before then, the deck was already the best thing, as I mentioned. It's because it gets to play all of the best cards that are still legal in Pauper. And Spellstutter Sprite is sort of a culprit here because there's not really too many things that interact with it well in the format from a combo perspective, at least, I'll say. So obviously, it's just a 1/1 creature, it can die. Well, the problem with it is that so they counter your first initial spell, and then they use the ninja to bounce it back to their hand with ninjutsu, and then they draw a card. Ninja of the Deep Hours is the card that I'm talking about here, and then they get another counter spell, which is just like a beautiful play pattern. It's really great and extremely powerful. That said, it puts your opponent down 3 cards. So that's just really powerful in a format like Pauper. Not that powerful, things can't happen there. So that's a really good interaction. The problem with it against combo decks is that you can't duress it. You have to run things like Divest if you want to discard it from their hand, which leaves you in the spot where you have to play Pyroblast to interact favorably with Spellstutter Sprite, which is just sort of a tall ask, asking every combo deck in the format to be playing red, which works well if you're playing Galvanic Relay, admittedly. So this deck is a deck that I don't enjoy playing against. I think it's pretty boring. That said, I don't know if I would hit anything from the deck. As miserable as the play patterns are, as good as it is, I'm not sure if anything needs to be hit. Uh, some people want Spellstutter Sprite banned, some people want Snuff Out hit. I think they should probably both stay for the sake of the format's health. That said, I hate facing this deck. It's miserable to play against, it's not fun, but it does keep degenerate things in check. And I think that's somewhat important. So I would not hit anything out of the fairies deck. Although if they did hit these cards, I'd be pretty happy about it. I've said my piece. Screw Spellstutter Sprite. In a tweet from Forsythe, Forsythe said, I do question leaving absurd cards like Lotus Petal legal in a low-powered format. As I just said, I don't think Pauper is a low-powered format, including things like Spellstutter Sprite and Ninja of the Deep Hours. That's a powerful interaction. You have powerful interactions in other places as well. You have, Dark Ritual in the format. So it seems weird to me to single out Lotus Petal. I don't think that Lotus Petal should actually go. And that's what this is, Lotus Petal. 0-mana artifact, add 1. But it seems really degenerate, right? Like, it seems like it's possibly way too good for Pauper. The problem is that there's no good win conditions in Pauper for Storm. They're all banned. Chatterstorm is going to join them soon. We all know it. So Empty the Warrens. It's banned. Grape Shot, banned. Anything remotely playable. Temporal Fissure, a glorified boomerang, banned. If it's a Storm win con, it's no longer legal. And that's sort of been the philosophy so far. And the philosophy's been to leave the mana. So we have mana that's better than Modern. We have Lotus Petal, Dark Ritual, Rite of Flame, Seething Song, Ball Ritual. It's nuts. So taking one piece of mana doesn't make a lot of sense. Like, hypothetically, if Wizards was to leave Chatterstorm but take Lotus Petal, Chatterstorm would still be a tier 1 deck in the format, and that's what we don't want. It just doesn't make any sense. So if you were to read a lot into Aaron's tweet, you'd think that maybe Chatterstorm and Petal would go. I don't think that's going to be what actually happens. I don't think they're going to touch Lotus Petal. I think that enough people have voiced their opinions on this, and maybe they're talking about it internally, but I think Lotus Petal's here to stay. I wouldn't worry about that too much. Those are my predictions. So I'm going to guess Chatterstorm and Atog, not the artifact lands. And then I think the artifact lands plus the Cleansing Wildfire are potentially going to be an issue, but who knows? Yeah. So that's my predictions. I think that they're going to leave the artifact lands because it seems a little bit silly, but we'll see. I'm rambling at this point, so I hope you enjoyed this video, even if you don't agree with my opinions. Take care, keep storming, and I can't wait to see the results next week. Hey, Bryant Cook here. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please like and subscribe, but also follow the social media channels down below. If you want to support this content directly, I would recommend going to theepicstorm.com/shop. And if you need a little bit of assistance with the Epic Storm to get to that next level, I would recommend going to theepicstorm.com/tutoring. Don't worry, there's more great content coming right up.